She let her cousin in, then lost everything she built. She trusted her cousin with the one thing she'd spent years trying to protect, and it cost her everything. The two women had grown up 3 houses apart on the same street in a small coastal town. Their mothers were sisters, they shared a grandmother, holiday dinners, and for a time, nearly everything else. By their late 20s, the plaintiff had built a modest but stable life as a freelance therapist, while her cousin, the defendant, had pivoted from a failed catering business into social media content creation, documenting what she called raw, real, unfiltered life. The platform had grown, the audience had grown, and apparently, so had the temptation. In March of the previous year, the plaintiff was involved in a confidential legal settlement related to a prior workplace harassment claim. The terms of that settlement included a strict non-disclosure agreement, standard language, standard consequences. As part of managing the emotional fallout, she confided in her cousin during what she described as a private video call. She shared details, amounts, names she wasn't supposed to name. She trusted her cousin the way you trust someone who has seen you cry at a funeral and never told anyone about it. 6 weeks later, a podcast episode dropped. The defendant's podcast, which had accumulated roughly 40,000 listeners, featured a segment titled "When Institutions Protect Predators." The plaintiff's workplace, her settlement amount, and details only the defendant could have known were laid out in careful, devastating specificity. Her name was never said, but in a small professional community, it didn't need to be. The plaintiff lost 2 long-term therapy clients who cited discomfort with the situation becoming public. A hospital referral partnership she had spent 18 months building went quiet. She calculated her damages at $87,500, a figure that combined lost projected income, legal fees from her original NDA review, and emotional distress. She filed suit in civil court, claiming breach of confidentiality, tortious interference with business relations, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. On the stand, the plaintiff was composed but hollowed out. She described calling her cousin the night the episode aired, getting no answer, and then receiving a text message that read simply, "I thought I protected you. I thought it would help." She told the court that what hurt most wasn't the money. It was that she had never been asked. The defendant presented a different version of events entirely. She argued, through her attorney, that the podcast episode contained no identifying information, that the plaintiff's name, employer, and settlement figure were never disclosed. She maintained that the story she told was a composite, drawn from multiple conversations with multiple people over several months, and that she had in fact changed identifying details deliberately to protect her source. She acknowledged the call with her cousin. She denied that the episode was derived from it. She had, she said, been covering workplace misconduct stories for 2 years before that conversation ever happened. The defense produced 3 prior episode transcripts as evidence, each covering similar themes in similar language. The courtroom was beginning to feel like it might go either way, until the defendant's own production notes resurfaced. Her former podcast editor, who had parted ways with her 2 months after the episode aired, submitted a folder of working documents she had retained from the production process. Inside was a time-stamped draft outline dated 4 days after the plaintiff's video call. In the margin of that document, in the defendant's own handwriting, captured in a scanned photograph, were 2 words next to the episode concept. Cousin's thing. 2 words. That was the whole twist. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just 2 words in the margin of a document the defendant had apparently forgotten existed. The judge awarded the plaintiff $54,000, less than the requested amount, reflecting the court's acknowledgement that while the breach was real, the direct causation of the full business losses couldn't be established with certainty. The emotional distress claim was partially upheld. The defendant was also ordered to remove the episode permanently from all platforms within 15 days. The defendant did not appeal. The episode came down within a week. Their mothers, according to sources close to both families, have not spoken since the verdict was read. The grandmother attended no family gathering that summer. The plaintiff has reportedly relocated her practice to a different part of the state. The defendant's podcast, which had been growing steadily, lost nearly a third of its audience in the months following the news coverage of the case. Not because of a ruling, but because her listeners made their own. And that's perhaps the detail that lingers longest, because here is the question the case leaves behind. When someone shares their pain with you in private, and you believe sharing it publicly could help others, At what point does your right to tell a story end and their right to own it begin?